Imagine waking up from a dream where a married man appeared. His face is still vivid in your memory, the look in his eyes, the gestures, the strange feeling that stayed in your heart. And then the question comes, almost like a disturbing whisper. Why him? Is it just chance, or is there a hidden meaning your unconscious is trying to reveal? Carl Jung believed that dreams are never random. They are direct messages from the soul, symbols carrying truths we don't dare to face in waking life. When a married man shows up in your dream, it is not only about him. It is about you, about what is hidden inside your psyche, about desires, fears, and forces that demand to be understood. In this video, you will discover what it really means to dream of a married man. Get ready. The answers may surprise you, challenge you, and even transform the way you see your relationships and your own heart. The hidden sign in the dream. When you wake up from a dream in which a married man appears, the memory often lingers. His presence feels heavy, as if it carries more than just a random scene from the night. The unconscious does not waste images without purpose. Carl Jung explained that dreams are never meaningless. They are messages dressed in symbols, pointing to truths that consciousness resists. The appearance of a married man, therefore, is not about him as an individual, but about what he represents in your inner world. Marriage itself is one of humanity's oldest archetypes. It is not simply about two people living together. It symbolizes commitment, boundaries, loyalty, union, promises, and sometimes also restrictions, obligations, and loss of freedom. When this figure breaks into your dream, it is a sign that something in your psyche is wrestling with those very ideas. The dream does not place a married man there by accident. It is your unconscious choosing the most powerful image to force you to pay attention. At first glance, you may think the dream is about desire or attraction. But if you look deeper, the hidden sign goes beyond that. A married man represents what is already taken, what belongs to someone else, what is not available. He embodies the tension between temptation and prohibition, between curiosity and fear of consequences. Jung called this type of imagery a symbolic conflict. It reveals the part of you that longs for something while another part knows it should not reach for it. This tension mirrors many struggles we face in waking life. Perhaps you are committed to a path that feels safe but limiting. Perhaps you desire freedom yet fear the cost of losing security. Perhaps you carry silent promises to family, to work, to yourself that now feel heavy. The unconscious does not list these struggles in words. It shows them in images, and the image of a married man is the perfect container for the story of desire colliding with limits. The hidden sign of the dream is the confrontation with boundaries. Jung believed the psyche sends symbols when consciousness refuses to face something directly. The dream is like a mirror. The married man shows you the line between what is allowed and what is forbidden, what is yours and what is not, what you long for and what you deny. But it is not only about restriction. There is also the question of identity. Why would your unconscious choose that figure, unless it carries a reflection of your own state? In many cases, the married man symbolizes the parts of you already bound to something, duties, roles, masks you wear to be accepted. His presence in the dream may be your inner protest against the weight of commitments you no longer fully recognize. Jung insisted that the shadow and the unacknowledged parts of ourselves always finds a way to speak, and dreams are its voice. The married man can be a shadow figure. He is not just the other, he is you. He embodies your hidden longings, your suppressed impulses, your unspoken questions about loyalty, freedom, and personal truth. When he walks into your dream, your shadow is stepping onto the stage, demanding attention. Facing this is uncomfortable. The shadow is rarely pleasant. It may bring up guilt, fear, or shame. Yet Jung emphasized that integration of the shadow is the path to wholeness. To deny the message of the dream is to live in silent conflict. To listen is to begin healing. When you ask not why him, but what part of me does he represent, the dream becomes a guide. So what is the hidden sign? It is the reminder that inside you lives a battle between responsibility and desire, safety and freedom, rules and longing. It is not about pursuing a forbidden person. It is about recognizing the symbolic truth of your own situation. The dream calls you to see where you feel trapped, where you are silencing yourself, where you long for something different but fear stepping across the line. Every time the married man appears, your unconscious is signaling urgency. Pay attention to your boundaries. Pay attention to the promises you made. Pay attention to the hidden desires you suppress. This does not mean you must act on them in reality. Dreams are not commands. They are revelations. They show the state of your soul. If you ignore the sign, the conflict deepens. You may feel restless without knowing why. But if you embrace it, you can transform. You can ask, what am I committed to that no longer nourishes me? What rules am I following out of fear rather than love? Where do I long for change but hide from it? These questions are uncomfortable, but they open the door to clarity. The hidden sign in the dream is therefore not about a man at all. It is about you. It is about your commitments, your boundaries, your shadow, and your truth. If you have the courage to see it, the dream becomes more than an odd memory. It becomes a message from your soul, urging you to awaken. What marriage symbolizes in the unconscious. When you dream of a married man, it is not only the figure of the man that matters, but the deeper symbol attached to him, marriage. In the language of dreams, marriage is far more than a social contract or a romantic union. For the unconscious, it is a symbol that carries layers of meaning about unity, loyalty, boundaries, and sometimes restriction. Carl Jung described marriage as an archetype, a universal pattern that exists in the collective unconscious of all human beings. That is why when marriage shows up in a dream, it immediately awakens feelings of commitment, permanence, and responsibility. At its core, marriage symbolizes the joining of opposites. In the outer world, it unites two people. In the inner world, it represents the attempt of the psyche to reconcile different parts of itself. When you see a married man in your dream, your unconscious may be highlighting the union of two forces inside you. Perhaps reason and emotion, freedom and security, or desire and responsibility. The image of marriage in this context becomes a mirror of the struggles between the parts of yourself that long for harmony, but also resist each other. Marriage also symbolizes limits. A married man is bound, taken, no longer free to move as he pleases. This limitation is not only about him, but also about you. The dream may be showing you where you feel confined, where your choices are narrowed by promises, roles, or duties you carry. In waking life, you might feel restrained by family expectations, by work commitments, or even by the identity you show to the world. The married man is an archetypal reminder of what it means to live with boundaries, sometimes protective, sometimes suffocating. In Jungian terms, marriage can also symbolize the self, the deeper center of the personality. Jung believed that each person longs for wholeness, and marriage in dreams can appear as a symbol of that search. To marry is to unite what was divided. When this symbol emerges through the image of a married man, it may indicate that your unconscious is calling you to look at your own inner union. What parts of you remain separate, unintegrated, or in conflict? The dream may be urging you to reconcile them, just as marriage reconciles two individuals into one bond. Yet marriage in dreams is not only about union. It often speaks of sacrifice. To marry is to give up certain freedoms. In waking life, you may feel the weight of obligations you never fully chose. You may feel you have given away pieces of your authentic self to meet expectations. The symbol of a married man can reflect this sense of sacrifice. It forces you to ask, what have I given up? And more importantly, was the sacrifice worth it? At the same time, marriage in the unconscious carries the weight of loyalty and stability. A married man symbolizes someone who has chosen, someone who stands within a framework of responsibility. Your dream may be asking whether you long for more stability, or whether you fear being trapped by it. Sometimes the dream points to a desire for structure when life feels chaotic. Other times it points to resistance against a structure that feels suffocating. Jung emphasized that dreams use exaggeration and symbolism to show truths we avoid in waking life. A married man in a dream is not simply a character. He is a message. He might be the figure through which your unconscious explores themes of commitment, loyalty, sacrifice, and integration. His presence asks you to look not at him, but at what marriage itself means to you personally. Do you see it as safety? As loss of freedom? As balance? As compromise? The dream pushes you to confront your beliefs about union and responsibility. The deeper meaning of marriage in the unconscious is transformation. True marriage is not static. It evolves as both partners grow, and symbolically it reflects your own growth. To dream of marriage or of a married man may reveal that your psyche is preparing for a new stage, one where you must bring together parts of yourself that have remained divided. It is a call to maturity, a step toward inner wholeness. Ultimately, marriage in dreams is not about weddings or legal papers. It is a timeless symbol of union, boundary, and integration, When it appears through the image of a married man, it becomes a mirror for your inner life. It asks you, what am I united with and what am I resisting? Where have I sacrificed too much and where do I still long for deeper commitment? These are not easy questions, but they are the very questions that lead to growth. The unconscious speaks in symbols because words cannot always capture truth. Marriage is one of its clearest symbols. To see it in your dream is to receive a message about union, loyalty, and the hidden cost of commitment. And when you understand this, the dream becomes more than a strange memory. It becomes a guide, pointing you toward greater clarity, freedom, and integration. If you feel these dreams are pointing to something deeper in you, there is a simple way to explore it with more clarity. It's called the Jung Method, a path to understand your inner patterns and reconnect with your true self. The link is pinned in the first comment. The boundary between desire and prohibition. Dreams often bring us to the edge of what we want and what we fear. When the figure of a married man enters a dream, it immediately raises the question of boundaries. Why him? Why not someone free, open, and available? Jung would say that the psyche does not choose randomly. The unconscious deliberately picks symbols that expose inner tension. A married man represents desire on one side, prohibition on the other. He is the perfect image of what you may long for but feel you cannot touch. Desire itself is not the problem. Desire is natural, part of the human condition. It fuels growth, creativity, and connection. But when desire meets restriction, when it collides with rules, the unconscious produces strong symbols to highlight the conflict. The married man becomes the representation of everything that feels tempting but off limits. He is both attraction and warning. The dream places you in this tension to make you conscious of your own limits. You may be ignoring situations in waking life where your longing crosses boundaries you have set for yourself, or that society has placed upon you. The unconscious cannot be fooled. Even if you deny these feelings by day, they appear by night. The dream asks, where are you walking the thin line between what you want and what you know you should not pursue? This is not simply about romantic attraction. The boundary between desire and prohibition extends into many areas of life. You may desire freedom while being bound by duty. You may desire change while holding on to security. You may long for a new beginning but feel locked by old promises. The married man embodies this paradox because he is a figure marked by commitment. To reach for him is to cross into forbidden ground. That is why the unconscious chooses him. He is not only a man but a symbol of everything restricted yet enticing. Jung taught that such dreams do not instruct you to act on desire. Instead, they shine a light on the conflict within. They reveal the parts of you that yearn for something and the parts that hold you back. By dramatizing this tension in the image of a married man, the dream externalizes what is happening inside your psyche. It shows you the boundary line, clear and undeniable. Facing this boundary can be uncomfortable. The dream may stir guilt or confusion, but Jung emphasized that only by acknowledging inner conflict can transformation begin. Pretending the tension does not exist will not dissolve it. Instead, it will push the desires deeper into the shadow, where they may express themselves in unhealthy ways. Recognizing the conflict, however, allows you to channel that energy more consciously. Think of the boundary not as a wall, but as a mirror. It reflects what you crave and what you fear losing if you reach for it. The married man in the dream is not urging you toward action, but toward awareness. He asks you to see where you are pulled by desire and where you hold yourself back out of duty, fear, or loyalty. That awareness is the first step toward making choices that align with your deeper truth. Desire and prohibition are universal forces. Every culture has myths and stories about forbidden fruit, sacred laws, and broken taboos. The reason these stories endure is that they mirror a core human struggle. We are drawn to what is restricted precisely because it awakens curiosity, risk, and the taste of freedom. Yet prohibition exists to protect, to set order, to preserve harmony. In dreams, these forces meet symbolically. The married man embodies that collision. Temptation wrapped in warning, attraction dressed in caution. The challenge is not to erase either side, but to balance them. Desire teaches you what your soul longs for. Prohibition teaches you where boundaries matter. Together, they shape your growth. The dream shows you both so that you can recognize the push and pull within yourself. When you wake from such a dream, ask, what in my life feels out of reach yet deeply tempting? What rules am I respecting and which ones am I silently resisting? Where do I feel trapped between longing and duty? These questions open the door to self-discovery. The boundary between desire and prohibition is not meant to punish you. It is meant to guide you. By paying attention to the dream, you learn where your true values lie, where your shadow speaks, and where your freedom can grow responsibly. The married man is not the message, and he is the messenger. The real message is about you, your limits, and your deepest yearnings. The voice of the shadow revealed in the dream. Carl Jung described the shadow as the hidden part of the personality, the aspects of ourselves we deny, suppress, or simply fail to recognize. It is not only darkness or evil, it also contains qualities we neglect, truths we avoid, and desires we silence. Dreams are one of the primary ways the shadow speaks. When a married man appears in your dream, he may not represent the literal figure but a shadow element surfacing in symbolic form. The dream becomes a stage where the shadow finally finds its voice. The shadow is uncomfortable because it confronts you with what you would rather not see. Maybe you consider yourself loyal, disciplined, and moral, so the idea of being drawn towards someone unavailable feels disturbing. Yet the dream exposes that attraction anyway. It is not saying you are guilty or wrong. It is revealing the parts of you that do not fit into your conscious self-image. The shadow refuses to be silenced forever. Through the dream, it whispers truths that you push away while awake. In Jungian psychology, ignoring the shadow is dangerous because what is unacknowledged often controls us from behind the scenes. By denying impulses or fears, they do not disappear. They act in subtle ways, shaping choices and emotions without awareness. The dream of a married man forces you to listen. It says, here's a desire, a conflict, an unspoken truth that you need to face. Without that confrontation, you risk living at the mercy of what you hide. The married man, then, is not the issue. He is the mask the shadow chooses. He embodies the qualities you have repressed: longing, temptation, curiosity, the hunger for freedom, or even rebellion against rules. His status as married makes him the perfect vessel because it ensures the dream will capture your attention. The forbidden quality shocks you, and in that shock, the shadow's message finally comes through. Listening to the voice of the shadow does not mean acting out its content. It means recognizing what it says about you. For example, the dream may highlight your fear of breaking rules, your attraction to risk, or your frustration with obligations. These emotions are not shameful. They are human. When you admit them, you gain the power to respond wisely. When you deny them, they grow stronger in the dark. The shadow often speaks in opposites. You may believe you are always selfless, yet the dream reveals hidden selfishness. You may see yourself as strong, yet the dream uncovers vulnerability. You may insist on moral purity, yet the dream displays forbidden desire. These contradictions are not meant to accuse you, but to balance you. Jung emphasized that wholeness comes from integrating opposites, not pretending to be only one thing. The married man dream is a chance to hear the side of you that has been ignored. What makes this process challenging is the emotional charge. Shadow material is usually wrapped in guilt, shame, or fear. That is why the dream feels so unsettling. But the discomfort is proof of its importance. Jung compared it to digging for gold in dark soil. The treasure is buried where you least want to look. The voice of the shadow is the key to discovering hidden strengths, passions, and truths. By paying attention, you begin to integrate these parts. Integration does not mean indulging every desire. It means acknowledging them as real, then choosing consciously how to live. The dream is not telling you to chase the married man. It is telling you to face what he represents, the voice of your shadow calling for recognition. When you wake, ask yourself, what part of me does this image reveal? What have I been denying? Where am I afraid to admit my true feelings? These questions allow the shadow's voice to be heard without letting it control your actions. In this way, the dream becomes a safe place to encounter what you would otherwise avoid. Ultimately, the married man in the dream is not about betrayal or scandal. He is a messenger. His presence reveals the shadow's voice, the inner truths that seek expression. By listening carefully, you transform discomfort into wisdom. You gain clarity about yourself, your hidden desires, and the balance you need for wholeness. The shadow is no longer an enemy but a guide, pointing you toward authenticity and deeper self-knowledge. What this dream says about your relationships. Dreams are mirrors. They do not simply replay daily events but reflect the emotional and psychological patterns shaping your life. When the image of a married man appears in a dream, it raises questions not only about inner conflicts but also about the way you relate to others. Jung emphasized that relationships are the stage where the unconscious most clearly expresses itself. What you deny within is often projected onto the people around you. The dream of a married man then becomes a symbolic message about your connections, expectations, and hidden struggles in relationships. At its most basic level, the dream may reveal dissatisfaction. You might feel something is missing in your current relationships: intimacy, attention, honesty, or passion. The married man symbolizes what seems out of reach, what feels distant or unavailable. This figure forces you to recognize the gap between what you have and what you long for. The dream does not judge you for that longing. It simply exposes it, demanding reflection. The married man also represents boundaries. In waking life, relationships thrive on respect and clarity. Yet many people silently cross emotional boundaries, seeking validation outside commitments, comparing themselves to others, or entertaining fantasies that never become words. The dream may be showing you where these subtle lines blur. By presenting a figure who is clearly unavailable, the unconscious makes the issue of boundaries impossible to ignore. This symbol can also highlight your patterns of attraction. Jung wrote about anima and animus, the inner feminine in men and the inner masculine in women. These archetypal figures influence who you feel drawn to, often unconsciously. The married man in your dream may embody qualities of your inner animus: strength, stability, authority, or even rebellion. By appearing as taken, he shows that these qualities feel distant or forbidden within you. The dream urges you to integrate them consciously instead of seeking them only in others. Another layer involves dependency. Relationships often reveal where we rely on others for validation. If the married man feels powerful in the dream, his unavailability may symbolize your dependence on approval from people who cannot truly meet your needs. It is the unconscious way of saying, stop looking for fulfillment in the wrong places. The dream asks you to turn inward, to discover the strength and love you hope to receive from others. At times, the dream is less about dissatisfaction and more about fear. To see a married man can awaken guilt or anxiety. This reflects your concern about betrayal, rejection, or moral failure. Even if nothing has happened, the dream dramatizes your anxieties about loyalty and trust. It may point to wounds from past relationships, where betrayal or secrecy left deep marks. The imagery appears not to punish you but to remind you where healing is still needed. The dream also questions the quality of your commitments. Are you fully present in your closest bonds, or are you holding back? Are you hiding emotions, pretending to be satisfied, or avoiding difficult conversations? The unconscious may create the figure of a married man to shock you into honesty. He embodies the cost of silence, the way unspoken truths can damage relationships. By confronting this symbol, you are invited to bring more openness into your real connections. Importantly, the married man is not telling you to leave a relationship or pursue a forbidden one. Jung stressed that dreams do not issue commands. They reveal symbols. This particular symbol highlights your patterns of desire, your struggles with limits, and your hopes for deeper connection. It points toward growth, not scandal. By paying attention, you can uncover what you truly want in relationships and how you can build them with integrity. Ask yourself, where do I feel distant from my partner, family, or friends? Where do I long for more closeness? Where do I cross invisible boundaries even in thought that leave me feeling conflicted? These questions bring the dream into daily life. They turn the image of the married man into a tool for understanding your emotional landscape. In the end, this dream says less about another person and more about you. It reflects your expectations, your unmet needs, your fears of betrayal, and your hidden desires. It asks you to be honest about the state of your relationships and courageous enough to change what is no longer serving your soul. Through this symbol, the unconscious calls you toward clarity, integrity, and deeper love. When the dream points to life choices. Not every dream is about fleeting emotions. Some dreams arrive with weight, carrying the sense that they are pointing you toward a decision. When a married man appears in your dream, it may not only reflect desire, conflict, or boundaries. It can also function as a signpost, a symbolic map leading you to evaluate the choices shaping your life. Jung believed that dreams provide guidance when the conscious mind is uncertain. They reveal truths hidden beneath confusion, gently or sometimes forcefully urging us to face crossroads we would rather avoid. The image of a married man is charged with meaning because it brings together opposites. On one side, there is attraction or curiosity. On the other, there is restriction and responsibility. When such a figure shows up in a dream, it can highlight the larger question of where you too feel divided. The dream may be asking, which path will you choose, the one of safety or the one of risk? The one of duty or the one of longing? Life is full of these tensions, and many times we avoid them. We stick to routine, delay decisions, or silence inner voices. The unconscious does not accept delay forever. It pushes unresolved dilemmas into dreams. That is why the married man can appear not as a message about him, but as a mirror of your own uncertainty. He represents the pull between options, the discomfort of not choosing, and the need to confront decisions you have postponed. Sometimes the dream points to career or personal direction. Are you walking a path that feels secure but lifeless? Do you secretly crave change yet fear disappointing others? The married man, symbol of what is taken and restricted, may show that you feel bound to a choice that no longer nourishes you. His presence urges you to question whether your commitments reflect your true self or only external expectations. In other cases, the dream speaks to emotional choices. You may be torn between staying in a relationship or leaving, between holding back feelings or speaking honestly, between continuing old habits or embracing new growth. The figure of the married man dramatizes this dilemma because he embodies both desire and prohibition. His appearance says, you cannot avoid this question any longer. You must face what you truly want and what you are willing to sacrifice. Jung often wrote that dreams show the future in symbolic form. They do not predict events but reveal the direction your soul is leaning. If the married man keeps appearing, it may mean your unconscious is pressing you toward clarity. Life choices cannot remain in the shadows. They demand light. By confronting the dream, you begin the process of conscious decision-making rather than drifting in confusion. What makes these dreams powerful is their emotional impact. You may wake unsettled, guilty, or strangely energized. That intensity is the sign that the dream carries significance. The unconscious rarely uses neutral images for turning points. It chooses something that will capture your attention fully. The married man, forbidden yet magnetic, is the perfect symbol to awaken you from passivity. The lesson is not to act on the dream literally. It is to read it as a call for evaluation. Where in your life are you avoiding a decision? Where are you clinging to safety while secretly yearning for change? Where are you pretending not to know the truth? The dream exposes these questions. It demands that you stop postponing. To respond, you need honesty with yourself. Write down the dream. Reflect on the emotions it stirred. Ask, if this married man is not about him but about me, what choice in my life does he symbolize? You may find the answer is not about romance at all, but about freedom, growth, or courage. When you recognize the choice, you reclaim power. The dream is no longer a haunting image, but a guide. It shows you that you are capable of deciding, capable of shaping your path rather than letting it be shaped for you. Jung believed that listening to dreams leads to individuation, the process of becoming whole. Facing life choices is part of that journey. So when the married man appears in your dream, do not dismiss him as random. See him as a signpost. He marks the place in your soul where a choice waits. The decision is yours, but the dream reminds you. The time has come to choose. The spiritual warning behind the image. Some dreams do more than reflect your inner psychology. They arrive with the weight of a message, almost like a warning from a deeper source. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious is not only personal, but also collective, carrying symbols that connect us to the spiritual dimension of life. When a married man appears in your dream, the image may not only highlight desire, boundaries, or life choices, it may also serve as a spiritual caution, urging you to see beyond appearances and listen to the whispers of your soul. A married man is, by definition, unavailable. His presence in a dream immediately sets off a tension between attraction and prohibition. On the surface, this can feel like temptation, but on a deeper level, it can act as a symbolic warning. Not everything that calls to you is meant for you. The dream reminds you that crossing certain lines brings consequences, not only in relationships, but in the state of your own spirit. The unconscious speaks this way to protect you, to awaken you before a mistake is made in waking life. This spiritual warning is not about moral condemnation. Jung insisted that dreams do not judge, they reveal. The married man shows up as a figure who embodies boundaries. His presence may be a reminder to honor what is sacred, whether it is someone else's commitment or your own integrity. The dream is asking, where are you tempted to break faith with yourself? Where are you considering choices that conflict with your deepest values? The warning is not punishment. It is guidance. Spiritually, marriage symbolizes covenant, union, and loyalty. To dream of a married man is to encounter those themes in symbolic form. If you feel pulled toward him, it may signal that you are drifting from your own commitments, to a partner, to your path, or to your inner truth. The dream cautions you to return, to realign with what is sacred. It is a wake-up call to protect your soul from compromise. At the same time, the married man may represent the voice of the collective unconscious, a reminder that your choices ripple outward. What you decide does not affect only you, it touches the people around you. The dream warns you to think beyond immediate gratification and consider the broader consequences. It calls you to a higher awareness, one that honors the invisible web connecting all lives. This warning can also be about self-deception. Sometimes the dream reveals that you are convincing yourself a certain path is harmless when deep down, you know it is not. The image of the married man shatters that illusion. It forces you to see clearly. This path carries limits, danger, or betrayal. The unconscious brings this truth in a dramatic image so that you cannot ignore it. Another layer of the warning is about energy. Jung wrote that relationships carry psychic energy, and misdirected energy drains the soul. The dream may be showing you where you are investing emotional energy in places that can never fulfill you. The married man, unattainable by definition, symbolizes the danger of wasting your life force on illusions. The warning here is simple: guard your energy. Do not pour it into what cannot nourish you. Spiritually, the dream invites humility. It reminds you that not everything you desire is aligned with your destiny. Some doors remain closed for a reason. Some figures appear only to teach you restraint. The married man is such a figure. He comes into your dream as a guardian of boundaries, saying, "Do not cross this line, for it will cost more than you realize." When you wake from such a dream, treat it with respect. Do not dismiss it as random. Write it down. Reflect on where in your life you feel tempted to step outside your truth. Ask yourself, what am I being warned about? Where do I risk betraying my values, my commitments, or my integrity? These questions transform the dream into guidance. Ultimately, the spiritual warning behind the image is not about him. It is about you. It is about your soul's call to remain true, to avoid the traps of illusion, to honor what is sacred in your life. The married man appears not as temptation but as a guardian, reminding you that your spirit grows strongest when you respect the boundaries that protect it. How to turn the dream into inner clarity. Dreams often feel confusing when we first wake up, but they can become powerful tools when we learn to interpret them. Seeing a married man in your dream is not simply a strange image to forget. It is an invitation to transform uncertainty into insight. Jung believed that the unconscious offers guidance through symbols, and if we listen carefully, we can turn these symbols into practical wisdom. The challenge is to move from confusion to clarity, from question to understanding. The first step is reflection. Instead of dismissing the dream, take time to write it down. Record the details. How did the man appear? What emotions did you feel? What setting surrounded the scene? Every element matters because dreams speak through images rather than words. This act of recording slows the mind, allowing you to see patterns that would otherwise vanish. Clarity begins by paying attention. The second step is detachment from literal interpretation. The married man is not necessarily about an actual person. He is a symbol, representing boundaries, desire, temptation, or unavailability. Ask yourself, what qualities does this image carry for me personally? Does he symbolize commitment, responsibility, or restriction? Does he reflect parts of myself I have ignored? By identifying the symbolic meaning, you step closer to understanding the message beneath the surface. The third step is honesty. Dreams reveal truths we often resist. The appearance of a married man may uncover hidden longings or dissatisfaction in your life. This does not mean you must act on them literally. Instead, it means you must admit they exist. Jung emphasized that unacknowledged desires remain in the shadow and control us unconsciously. By admitting what the dream reveals, you bring those truths into the light where you can respond with wisdom. The fourth step is integration. Once you see what the dream symbolizes, ask how it connects with your current life. If the married man reflects restriction, where do you feel confined? If he reflects desire, where do you hunger for more fulfillment? If he reflects temptation, where do you need stronger boundaries? Integration means translating dream symbols into conscious awareness and then aligning your choices with that awareness. The fifth step is spiritual listening. Beyond psychology, dreams can carry a deeper call. The married man may symbolize a warning not to waste energy on illusions or betray your integrity. Turning this into clarity means asking not only what does this mean, but also what is this dream asking me to protect? It may be your values, your loyalty, or your sense of purpose. Clarity grows when you treat the dream as a sacred message, not just a psychological puzzle. The sixth step is transformation through action. Insight without change remains incomplete. If the dream reveals dissatisfaction, take steps to renew your relationships. If it reveals suppressed desires, find healthy ways to express them. If it reveals a need for boundaries, practice saying no. The unconscious does not send symbols for entertainment. It sends them for growth. True clarity comes when understanding leads to action. The seventh step is patience. Dreams rarely reveal everything at once. Sometimes the meaning unfolds slowly as life events confirm what the unconscious already knew. Trust the process. Each time you reflect, integrate, and act, the path becomes clearer. Jung taught that the goal is individuation, the journey toward wholeness. Every dream is part of that journey, even when its meaning is difficult. Finally, remember that clarity does not mean certainty about the future. It means awareness of yourself in the present. The dream of a married man will not tell you exactly what to do, but it will illuminate what you feel, what you fear, and what you need. That illumination is enough to guide your next steps with honesty and strength. In the end, the dream is not about him at all. It is about you, your boundaries, your desires, your values, your truth. When you take the time to listen, reflect, and integrate, the confusion fades and understanding grows. The married man is only the messenger. The real gift is the clarity you gain about your own heart, and that clarity, once embraced, has the power to change not only how you dream but how you live.